You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 59. And in this episode, I'm talking about something that nowadays seems as commonplace for creators of coloring books, planners, and journals as talking about crayons and coloring pencils. Of course, I'm talking about ChatGPT. Now, I realize that for some listening, there's a lot of controversy regarding the use of AI, especially for skilled and or organically trained artists. But this episode isn't about replacing traditionally trained or people who just know how to draw and create. It's not about replacing them with AI. It's actually about how to use AI as an assistant, a way to co-create your book. Personally, I absolutely adore ChatGPT to assist me with research. That's the primary reason in which I use ChatGPT. So with that said, I wanted to encourage you to use ChatGPT in order to help you with something that I started doing from the very beginning of creating the Coloring Book Creator, which was helping new creators validate an idea for a book before they created it. Again, this is something I teach all of my new mentees, available as an audio course. I'll put the link in the show notes on how to get that. But if you're listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast app, episodes 26 through 35 of this podcast actually lays out the 9 steps through those episodes. So if you want to listen to it within the player here, you can just go to episode 26 and listen through episode 35, and you can get the bones of the audio course there. And of course, there's a link you can opt in to get the rest of the course that are available, including a workbook and handouts and so forth. Now, with that said, I decided to employ ChatGPT and create my first GPT to help with ideation. Again, the free audio course is around validating the idea, but what if you don't even know what the idea of the book could be about? In steps of the GPT to help you with the ideation process for what the book or book ideas could be based on your skills, your interests, your passions, and so forth. I'm going to put the link in the show notes so you get access to it. Now, again, this GPT is designed in order for you to take a passion or an interest, put it into the GPT, and by using a one-sentence framework to create that one sentence about what the idea could possibly be, then you'll go into ChatGPT and you'll put that sentence in there, and I've programmed the GPT to give you a variety of ideas. To see this all in action, I'm going to have you go to the link in the show notes. There's a video there at the top of the screen. You can watch that video, and everything that you need in order to prep yourself to go into the GPT is already listed on the page. But I'm going to go over it for you here on the podcast. So the first thing you're going to do when you arrive on that page, it's going to have at the top, unlock your coloring book or planner idea with the power of AI. There's a little 7-minute video at the top of that. Watch that video. Then underneath that video, it basically walks you through the steps that I have you go through. The first thing is I ask, what is your area of knowledge or interest? It could be mindfulness, meditation. It could be around travel. It could be around tea. It could be around flowers or gardening, adult humor. It could be a prayer Bible study. Whatever your interest, just pick something that interests you. You can go back and do this again and again, but just pick an area of interest. Then you'll craft a one-sentence description based on that area of interest. And I even have a sample on the page how you can write out that one-sentence area of interest. Again, the sentence could be around passionate hobby, a skill, whatever you choose, and try to be as specific as possible. So for illustrating it in the podcast, I picked the topic of tea, and I said, okay, I'm passionate about tea. I love talking about it. I love drinking it and telling others how to get more pleasure and enjoyment out of drinking tea. I'm also a passionate home baker, and my recipes are based on using tea as an essential ingredient. Because that's my one sentence. So I'll write that out. Then on the page, when you land on it, there'll be a form that'll put your email address in. You'll put that in, and then you'll be directed to the GPT. Then when you go to the GPT, you paste one sentence description into the box. That's all you have to do. That's the only prompt you need to do. It's already been programmed and queued up. Just add that in there and then let the GPT do its work. Once it's done, you will get theme ideas for books, be it planners, journals, or a combination of the two, coloring book, what have you. So you have your ideas. Then the GPT is programmed to give you layout and content ideas. So coloring pages, recipe pages, travel tips, adventure prompts. It even gave me ideas of what the pages could look like for the coloring pages, how to structure the recipe pages, how to incorporate travel tips or adventure experiences if someone is actually in Paris and with my book and they're working on that. Then it gives me a target audience, which is really important, who the target audience could be. It also gives me cover design ideas. Okay, so that's what the GPT will give you. Now, after you complete that process, there will be a link in the GPT that'll take you over to the audio course, which you can then look at and go through those steps to further validate the idea. Now, what I've decided to do is I just wanted to sort of soft introduce you to the idea here on the podcast. I am planning a live workshop experience where we are going to get together. You're going to give me your idea or ideas for what you'd like to do a book about. And I'm actually going to go through the ideation process and then give you some additional tips and pointers and suggestions on how you could then construct this as a book, including how to use AI to come up with your initial cover idea designs. Because again, in my experience, if you're going to create a book, the more that you can make that book feel real to you before you start really creating it, increases the likelihood that you will complete and get the book done. So if I've got my ideation written out and I know where I want to include in the book in terms of pages and structure and so forth, I know what the topic is and the focus I want it to be. And then I have actual artwork that shows me what the cover could potentially look like. And I've got that right there at my desk at the ready. I can look at every day. Think about how inspiring that's going to be to help you get the book completed. So again, I know sometimes with courses, it can feel like you have to spend, a lot of time going through a bunch of videos and doing a lot of steps and still not sure what you really want to do, or you don't really have anyone right there to kind of give you feedback and sort of bounce ideas and things off of. Being able to actually have someone in real time that you're able to talk to and help you further refine the idea, I think is always appreciated. And in my experience, I find that the people who go through that workshop with me are much more ready and prepped to actually work with me inside my Coloring Book Creator and Planner Bookpreneur program. So with that said, in order to be notified when I do this workshop, and actually going to do it as a workshop series, I'm going to be doing it on a regular basis, depending upon how the first few go. But anyway, I wanted to let you know that that's going to be available to you. And the only way you'll be notified about when that live workshop experience happens is to go to the link in the show notes. Go to that page. You'll see a little video at the top. You'll go through the initial process. You can even put in your email address. You'll be taken to my custom GPT. You'll put in that sentence. You will get your information back, and then you can come to the live call and you can show me the results that you received from the GPT. And then we'll take that to then further flesh out the idea and come up with the cover designs that you could potentially use for your book project and then go from there. So again, I just wanted to kind of go over it really quickly. The way that I did it was I used the prompt that I gave about Paris and baking and tea. It gave me 3 great ideas for books, planners, and journals, and how I can combine all 3 interests together. Gave me content, layout ideas, recipe ideas, and so on and so forth, and who my target audience is. And I created a sample cover design. And so what I've decided to do is I'm actually going to build this book out. I'm going to walk through how I built this book out. And I'm going to use all of the suggestions that came from the GPT and do that book in real time. So again, once you get on my list and you actually sign up for that workshop, you'll get a chance to see where I am in that process and then how you can stay abreast to how I got that book completed. So the plan is to go from ideation all the way to have that book published on either Amazon and or Lulu and or both. I'm not quite sure yet. Most likely for sure Amazon. I just wanted to introduce this to you. I know I put the GPT out there. And I know as my regular listeners of the podcast, you may or may not know about it. So I wanted to make sure that you heard about it. And I want you to get a chance to see what the GPT can do. And again, you'll be receiving an invitation from me to join me for a live workshop. If you're listening to this, you have an interest in creating a coloring book planner or journal, and my program is around helping you do that and not only make it, but also promote it as you're making it. So I've got some really exciting things I'm rolling into this workshop series, including your first promotional activities that you can do before you even get started making the book. Okay, so this is going to be a really exciting project. I'm super excited about this. I hope you can hear it in my voice. And I would love to walk this journey with you. So again, I'm going to put the link in the show notes on how to see a demo of the GPT, how to get yourself registered and get access to my GPT, how to play with it with your own ideation, and then how to have a live experience with me where you can get direct support and potentially see me get this new book idea from ideation to published on Amazon. Alrighty. So with that said, this is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off, and I would be excited to hear what you're working on. And I also put the link inside the show notes for my Facebook group, so you can join me in my Facebook group and share the results were that you got. Okay? Alrighty. See you in the next episode. Take care.